Jenny here with another House of Night book review. As soon as my chair works. Okay. So, I told you guys last week. Yes, I'm smoking because I don't like this book. It's a sad book. It's really. We will be discussing Tempted. Another orange book. Another orange, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Why don't I like it? Okay, let me tell you why. In this book, I finally started liking Heath. Finally like Heath. Then something happens to Heath. Like, why? Why does it have to be like that? It sucks. Sucks. It's bullcrappy. Bull poopy. Bull poopy. It's bull poopy. So, let's get into this. This blood smelled too dark. Too thick. There was too much of something in it that wasn't human. But it was still blood. And it drew her. Even though she knew the wrongness of it deep in her soul. Obviously this isn't Zoe. This isn't Zoe's point of view. This is Stevie Ray's point of view. So after the whole thing went down in Hunted, where Stark was hurt and they shot the bird boys out of the sky and all that stuff, Zoe goes into the Abbey with Stark because he needs to be treated for his wounds. Heath and Eric have a little pissing competition about who's Zoe's actual boyfriend. I mean, vampires, whatever. Even though in the vampire world, in these books, you're allowed to have mates, a consort, and a warrior. 3 mates would probably be Heath, consort Eric, warrior Stark. So what's the issue? Like, deal with it. They have a little pissing competition and then decide, okay, they're gonna help gather the bodies of the fallen raven mockers and then dispose of them and all that stuff. And Stevie Ray actually goes and she decides to help. She tells Z, don't worry, I got this. She'll make sure the guys don't kill each other and all that shit. Especially with the guy that actually likes her and she likes him. And I'm talking about Stevie Ray, not Zoe. Dallas, I think his name is. I never really got the feels for him. So while looking for bodies of the dead Ravenmockers, Stevie Ray smells something. And remember, they actually do need blood to survive. So the red fledglings feed quite regularly. And so she follows the smell. She finds the body. But this Ravenmocker isn't completely dead. He's still alive. He has a broken wing and he's shot somewhere and all that stuff. So she takes him. She wants to use Earth to just kill him, get it over with. You know, the more humane option. But then he looks at her and she's like, he has human eyes. He doesn't look like a birdie completely. He has human eyes. And that makes her stop for a second. And she actually doesn't kill him. She drags him into a shade and goes back the next evening to actually like kind of nurse his wounds and get him somewhere safe. Because Stevie Ray has a lot of humanity now that she's actually got her humanity back, if that makes any sense whatsoever. And the next morning, well actually that night, when Z went to her room that she's sharing with Aphrodite and the Abbey, Eric pops up and he's just so much and she actually breaks up with him. She breaks up with him, which is totally awesome. But then he proves his doucheness even more the next morning when he rocks up with Venus, which is such a bitch, such a hoe bag. One of Aphrodite's former friends was her best friend. But remember, Aphrodite changed. She's nice now. Venus isn't. And it was pretty obvious they did the nasty the night before because they're hanging all over each other and all that shit. Yeah, so he rocks up at breakfast with this bitch. They're trying to discuss what to do next. They end up deciding to go back to the House of Night. Grandma Redbird still stays in the Abbey because she's still a bit sick from everything that happened in Untamed. I think she goes back home at the end of the book. I'm not really sure. I know some bad shit happens to her in Awakened. Yeah. Bad shit all around. But they do decide to go back to House of Night. They contact the High Council, which is a group. 7 women. Remember, House of Night, the vampire is a matriarch. All the women have the power. And they're just like, okay, here's the problem. Neferet and her consort, Erebus, are also coming over to Italy to tell us exactly what's what. And Zoe's like, but they're lying. They're not telling the truth. And they're like, okay, then come as well. Argue with them. Let us see who's right and who's wrong. So, even though Z did not want Heath to go with him, he is just like, I love you, Zoe. And he goes with him to Italy, which is a really bad decision. Because after almost losing a big argument in the council room, I think that's what they call it in Italy, with the High Council, he gets pissed and he walks away. So Zoe gets pissed and she follows him. But he overhears Nefret and Kelowna talking about how Nefret killed Professor Nolan and Lauren Blake, and they see Heath. Let's just put it this way, it didn't end well for him, and it didn't end well for Zoe either, because when she saw what happened, she flung everything at Kelowna, everything she had, all 5 of the elements, all of it, and her soul shattered. Gone. It's broken. It's really sad, actually, because that's how the book ends, with her being carried into the council room, and Nefret is like, excuse me, Kelowna, but you're going after her and to make sure she doesn't come back. So, she binds Kelowna so that his body is still here, but he's also in the other world, with Zoe and Heath, and where the goddess is and everything. That's actually, Burned is an amazing book. It is. I mean, Zoe's not really herself in it, but I don't know how to explain it. It's a really good book. It's the next book we'll be discussing anyway. So, yeah. Stark has a moment where he wants to kill Neferet because she's all like, no, this is Zoe's fault, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Because, you see, the problem is, when your soul shatters, and your body's just an empty shell, they say you're gonna die. The body's gonna last about 7, maybe 8 days, then it'll die. It's like she's in a coma at the moment. So Stark and Z, with the whole nerd herd, are welcome to stay in Italy to figure out what to do. They actually get help from a really cool high priestess. Her name is Thanatos. Now, Thanatos means death, and that's literally her affinity, is death. She helps people cross over from this realm onto the other world. And she says she hasn't seen Zoe's spirit yet. So Nefret takes Kelowna's body, his shell, attractive shell, but still, goes away. They stay in Italy. Stevie Ray deals with bad shit back in Tulsa, grows closer to Raphael, heals him, helps him. It's horrible. It's so confusing. This book, it messes with your emotions. And in this book, he also starts getting dreams, really vivid dreams about Kelowna, and it screws with her head, like, completely, because she wants to believe there's something good in him. She wants to believe he still has humanity. But around every corner, he tries to prove her wrong. Yay. Why do all the handsome guys have to be the bad guys? Like, why? But, that's basically this book in a nutshell. Please do join me next week when we discuss Burned. I think this one Just at a moment, sorry. You'll have to wait and see. But guys, don't forget to stake that like button, hit the notification bell with a silver bullet, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. I will see you guys next time.